Hello dear students, welcome to the another session of mammalian histology. Okay, so in last session we have started with the basic structural pattern or the basic structural plan of elementary canal. Okay, so we have said with the mucosa, submucosa and serosa. Okay, so the basic structural pattern. Okay, so let's start with the esophagus. Okay, as you see in the picture, the long tube which started from the throat and uh, the ends with the lower part going to end in the stomach. Okay, so the esophagus is a 25 centimeter up to the 25 centimeter long fibromuscular tube which is going to extending from the pharynx to the stomach. Okay, so as highlighted structure in the green color, the long cylindrical tube which is going to start with the lower portion of the buccal cavity and ends in the upper portion of the stomach. So, so it going to consist of the muscles that run both longitudinally and circularly. Okay, so the entering into the abdominal canal. Okay, and via the right cirrus of the diaphragm. So the diaphragm is the your um, chest structure. Okay, the bone structure, the diaphragm structure, and that the going to pass from the your diaphragm the that from into the level of the 10th thoracic vertebrae. Okay, so to 10th thoracic vertebrae brings your that ribs. Okay, that up to the 10th thoracic vertebrae just you feel here at your the upper the stomach. Okay, so that up to that 10th vertebrae this canal going to run, and that canal is nothing but the esophagus. Okay, so at the level of the 10th thoracic vertebrae, so it actively going to facilitate the passage of the food bolus into the stomach under the precise nervous regulations. Okay, so therefore it is a part of the digestive system. Esophagus is the part of the digestive system. So it shows small and irregular shape lumen when there is no food in the esophagus. Okay, so this will be the hollow passage. Okay, then let's start with the first layer of the esophagus. Okay, so the mucosa is the first layer of the esophagus, as I said, from the inner layer lumen to the first part. We are starting from the innermost part, that will be the mucosa, and it is the innermost layer lined with the stratified squamous epithelium. Okay, remember your tissues lectures. Okay, the stratified squamous epithelium we have taken in the very absolute manner what are the specifications of the stratified squamous epithelium. Okay, so it the mucosa layer comprises the very first layer, that the layer line with the stratified squamous epithelium cells, and just gaze the embryonic developmental passages or the stages. So how these mucosa or the stratified squamous epithelium layer, the inner lining has said, that means it will be arises from the which embryological layer, that will be the ectoderm, mesoderm or the endoderm. So such a type of questions you will face into the your practice examinations. Okay, so let get your vision through the such a deep manner cells. Okay, so as I ask you, the mucosa layer is the innermost layer line with the stratified squamous epithelium cells. So the uh, from the given options, take one choice of one option that will be the correct embryological origin of the mucosal layer. Okay, so which embryological layer will be um, the origin layer of the mucosa, or the innermost inner lining cells of the squamous epithelium cells. So you should be understand that deep the structured questions. Okay, so the mucosa is the innermost layer lined with the stratified squamous epithelium, and in the animals which swallow rough food or the coarse vegetable food, okay, that the uncooked, okay, and those animal like ruminants and the rodents, okay, these mucosa layer of the keratinized type. But in the mammals, some mammals like humans and man, okay, so these layer are non-keratinized type. Okay, so the example of the animals which having the keratinized type of the innermost layer cells of the stratified squamous epithelium are the ruminants and the rodents. Okay, so in the man and some other mammals, the mucosa is not conifered or the non-keratinized. Okay, so the first the layer in the mucosa layer will be the lamina propria layer. So this lamina propria layer of the connective tissue situated at the anterior and the posterior regions of the esophagus, and there are tubular mucous glands present into the lamina propria region, and these tubular mucous glands going to secrete the mucus. Okay, and the muscularis mucosa layer will be the another layer into the mucosa, and the layer of a smooth muscle fibers going to arrange longitudinally, and it's thick in the esophagus region. But you will see in some modifications into the coming next layers, okay, the stomach layer or the your small intestine layer. So these muscularis mucosa layer is will not pretty much thick over there, but in the mucosa or the in the sorry in the esophagus, these muscularis mucosa layer is pretty much fat or the thick than the compared to the small intestine, stomach, or the your large intestine regions. Then second layer will be the, as I said, the sequence will never change, will be the submucosa. The submucosa comprises or is going to comprises of closely interweaving collagenous fibers. Okay, going to get which going to permits to develop the extensive fold of the mucous membrane into the submucosa region, and that extensive folds going to get the provide the extra surface. Okay, and that the folded surfaces going to it contains the several blood vessels, nerves, lymph vessels into the submucosal layers, and esophageal gland and submucosal gland also present into the these secret mucuses. Okay, and it also present into the submucosal layer, the esophageal gland and submucosal gland. Okay, so as I highlighted the mucosa layer into the brick red color. Okay, and the as you see in the this cross section, okay, this is the cross section of the esophagus. Okay, it is stained by the hematoxylin and eosin stain. At the medium magnification, you can see the layer of the esophagus. Okay, so as you can see, the lumen, okay, the cristae formation to of the esophagus, okay, to having the uh, it's going to comprises with uh, the passage. Okay, so this lumen going to provide a passage for the food material to get passed through the esophagus up to the stomach. So as you can see, the mucosa is the innermost layer, okay, and it having the connective tissue papillae, okay, as one section from the this cross section is zoomed out to for the better understanding. As you can see, it having the connective tissue papillae, it having the non-keratinized stratified squamous epithelium, but in case of the ruminants and the uh, rodents, this non-keratinized stratified squamous epithelium will be replaced by the keratinized stratified squamous epithelium, and it also known as the conifers. Okay, so the next mucosal portion will be the lamina propria of the mucosa. Okay, as you see in the picture, and then will be the muscularis mucosae layer of the mucosa. Okay, then you can see the submucosa layer will be the second layer, okay, of the esophagus. Okay, and as you can see, the excretory duct of the esophageal gland proper is present into the submucosa layer. So you will be asked some questions like um, the excretory duct of or the esophageal gland proper present into the which layer of the esophagus, or the which layer of the uh, alimentary canal. So your answer will be the submucosa. Okay, so then the esophageal gland proper, as you can see, into the submucosa layer. Okay, as it highlighted, then you will see the inner circular layer of the muscular coat. Okay, that then will be the muscle layers. Okay, then you can see the outer longitudinal layer of the muscularis coat. Okay, and then will be the last part of the esophagus, that is nothing but the adventitia. We will see in the next slide. Okay, then will be the muscularis externa. Okay, and that muscularis externa, that muscle section of the this cross section, and consists of the inner circular and the longitudinal muscle fibers into the muscularis externa layer. So it is the anterior 1/3 part, uh, which is of the muscularis externa, has striated muscles into it. Okay, so the presence of the striated muscle going to get comprises in these layer of the esophagus to provide the structural balance, which is going to given by these 1/3 part, that is with the stratified muscle cells. Okay, then the smooth striated muscles after the stratified muscle cells, okay, into the muscularis externa layer. It is the middle 1/3 part of the muscularis externa going to occupied by means of the smooth striated muscles. Okay, and then will be the then last 1/3 part is go of the muscularis externa going to get combined by the smooth muscles. So these all three type of the muscle fibers or the muscle cells going to you can see into the muscularis externa layer, and then last layer will be the adventitia layer, or it also known as the serosa layer. Okay, so the serosa is going to covered by the alveolar tissues. Okay, and that alveolar tissues are the cells, or the tissues that are going to connect esophagus with the surrounding structures. Okay, that these alveolar tissue are forming the connective tissue materials over there, and that are going to attach this adventitia layer, that serosa layer, to surrounding structures of the that abdominal cavity of the hollow passage of the human or the man. So these segments above the diaphragm, as I said, it is covered by these tissues. Which tissues? These alveolar tissues, and hence called as the adventitia layer. Okay, so the name coined as the adventitia. So whereas these esophagus or the esophagus below the diaphragm is covered by the peritoneum layer, and this peritoneum layer covering on the these layers below the diaphragm. Okay, so hence called as the serosa. Okay, so hence these diaphragm covered with the peritoneum is called as the serosa layer. Okay, there are some distinguishing features which are the peculiar characteristics of the esophagus, or the uh, you can say the structural characteristics of the esophagus. Okay, the very first will be the mucosa layer is folded. Okay, the structural peculiar characteristics of the mucosa layer is the folded structures. Okay, and it going to line by the stratified squamous epithelium. Okay, so these specifications are going to uh, give you the proper structure in your mind. Okay, so recite these peculiar characteristics of the esophagus, which will be helpful in your examination. Then the second will be the lamina propria, which going to forms the papillae in the epithelium. Okay, and third peculiar characteristics is esophageal cardiac glands are present in the lamina propria region. Okay, so the muscularis mucosae, the fourth one, muscularis mucosae layer is a very thick, containing only longitudinal muscle fibers. Okay, and the fifth peculiar characteristics is esophageal gland proper. Esophageal gland proper are present in the submucosa layer. Okay, so um, the proper um structures of the esophageal glands going to secrete the mucosa. Okay, which is present into the submucosa layer, having the duct and going to open into the lumen. Okay, as we see in the picture. And then adventitia is the outermost core of the esophagus. Okay, or it adventitia also known as the serosa. So the key facts, let's summarize all we have seen into the one particular chart or the table. So the you will be for your better understanding and better recitation. Okay, so the key facts about the esophagus or the esophagus. Okay, so the course, that means up to the stomach, the uh, its mediation. Okay, so oral cavity, then the mediastinum, then will be the right crus of the diaphragm, then will be the stomach. Okay, the region occupied by the esophagus. Okay, it starts from the oral cavity, then mediastinum, then right crus of the diaphragm, then the it going to open into the stomach. Okay, the innervation are the esophageal nervous plexus. Okay, then blood supply is given by the esophageal branches of the thoracic aorta. Okay, going to azygous, hemiazygous, or the accessories hemiazygous veins. Okay, the blood supply, it's additional point for your uh, better understanding. So the lymphatics The inferior deep cervicals into the lymphocytes and lymphatic system is present into it. Okay, the posterior mediastination, the intercostal region, then the parietal region. Okay, then superior or the inferior trachobranchial lymph nodes present into the lymphatic system. Okay, then the histology, which is the main part, which we are going to focus on. The mucosa layer, it is the non-keratinized stratified squamous epithelium layer. Then it having the lamina propria. Okay, then smooth muscle of the layers into the mucosa layer. Then will be the second, from the innermost to the outermost second layer, submucosa. Esophageal gland and the papillae are present in the submucosa layer. Then will be the muscularis externa. Okay, where the stratified muscles on the upper third part. Okay, then will be the smooth and striated muscle into the middle third part. Okay, and then will be the smooth muscle into the lower third part. Okay, so hence it is known as a muscularis externa. Hence the all muscle cells, only the proper muscles are present into the muscularis externa section. Okay, so the next layer or the last part is serosa or the adventitia. So it having the fibroalveolar adventitia, which are going to attach the esophagus to the neighboring surfaces of the abdominal cavity. Okay, so that hollow cavity going to uh, get attached with the our respiratory system tubes. Okay, with the esophagia, and also having the some connections with the our linings of the muscles or of the um, lungs. Okay, so this will be the histology of the esophagus. So in next session we will see about the histology of the stomach. Okay, so we will meet in the next session. Thank you.